Today is April the 17th, 2012. We're interviewing Paul W. Cascaden, who was born on September the 12th, 1936. He served in the U.S. Marine Corps as a corporal during the Beirut and Lebanon conflict. He's been interviewed by Bob Shook. This interview is taking place at the American Legion Post 43, Clifford Thompson Post 43 in Troy, Ohio. It is part of the Miami County Veterans History Project in relationship with the Library of Congress. Good afternoon, Bill.
Good afternoon.
Good having you here.
Glad to be here.
Well, we appreciate your contribution and your service in the service. We're anxious to hear your story. We'd like for you today to start right at the beginning. You talked about your family, about any siblings that you may have had, maybe military also, and any of the family have been in the military. And talk about how what you did when you were in civilian, and then your transition to the military life, how you got in the Marine Corps and so forth, and then go right on to basic training, right through the whole story. Take your time, and we'll be listening carefully to you.
Very good.
You're on.
All right, I'm on. Okay. Well, see, to begin with, my family, let's see, well, as you said, I was born in 1936, and my father was from Iowa, and my mother was from Indiana, and let's see, brothers and sisters, of course, most of those are gone now, and some were, one was accidental, and the others are just,
How many of your sisters and brothers you had?
I had, let's see, I had two brothers, and I got two sisters, and they're all gone now.
Mm-hmm.
So most of my uncles and aunts are gone too. And let's see what else I want. I was leaving anyway.
What kind of work did your family do? Would you live on a farm or what?
No, not on a farm. My father was a contractor, like a plaster and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother, she, after my father died when I was about 5 or 6 years old. And so she raised me more or less on her own. So, but as far as my military experience from my family was, I had some uncles that were in the Second World War in Germany, or Belgium really. But and then I had a cousin of mine was in the Marine Raiders in the Second World War. So that's about all of the military experience in the family. And my father never served, and I don't think my grandfather ever did. So, excuse me. So that's about all the military experiences in the family. So that I know of.
Well,
So,
how about your, what kind of things you were doing as a civilian and your transition to military service?
Okay, well, transition military service was I graduated high school in '55, and back in those days, you had to have your military obligations usually fulfilled before you got a decent job. So we 55, and I joined in '56. But so there's another guy and I, and there was a guy from Versailles. Diz Altman was the one guy from Bradford, and Jerry Brown was from Versailles. We joined together and went to, I think we signed up in Cincinnati somewhere, close around Cincinnati somewhere, and then we decided, before that we decided we'd go in the Marine Corps. Why? I don't know, but we decided that anyway, so we went and had, like I said, I think it was Fort Thomas, where we enlisted at anyway, they swore us in. And then we went to, I think we left out Cincinnati or Dayton Airport, flew to San Diego for boot camp. And of course that was a fun time, But as soon as we got into San Diego, they told us that, there'd be a bus pick us up for a Marine base. And they, needless to say, we had a corporal showed up, and he started in on us right away, but never let up. And we got to the Marine base and unloaded, and Of course, it was in there. We was in what they call receiving barracks for about, I don't know, it was a few weeks, couple weeks maybe, before they had enough people for a platoon. And let's see, they had, all we did then was we'd get up in the morning. They gave you a sheet for your bunk and a sweatshirt, and that was about it. And then we went out, we'd get up every morning and we'd go to the grinder, the parade ground, pick up everything that wasn't growing, you know how that is. And you'd wear shoes out down on your knees and dragging your feet. So anyway, we had to send all of our stuff home, and then they issued our military stuff. But our DI picked us up, let's see, they said he'd come pick us up out of the receiving barracks, so they fell us out on the parade ground.
Before you go on, explain what is a DI?
Drill instructor, you know, and they're a special breed, you know that. And anyway, they're mad all the time, but no, he's all right. But they would, he came to pick us up, and we saw this guy coming across the parade ground. And he looked, you know, to us, he looked mean enough. Squared away, creases in his trousers, campaign hat on. He was a swagger stick, had it all. And he picked us up, and he would say, like, he wouldn't call us people or humans, he'd call us herd. Herd, he'd say, line up over here, herd, and this and that, and plus other things they call us. But anyway, I think I saw him smile one time in 13 weeks, and that was the day we graduated. So, but no, it was an experience. Everyone should have it, I guess. But I know that doesn't happen anymore. But
well, the transition from being a civilian then to a soldier was it difficult for you? Was it easy or what?
oh, it wasn't that bad. I don't think anyone enjoyed it that much. You know, I mean, you just wonder what was going to happen next. You know, but as you look back on it over the years, it was, you know, it was just harassment, you might say, but it was all right. I mean, they didn't harm anyone. But
Why do you think they do that?
I don't know. I think they want to break you down and build you up to what they want. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they don't want you to. They want you to. If they tell you something, you do it without thinking about it or hesitation. So, but that's my opinion, which, you know, doesn't mean anything. But that's my opinion. But anyway, where was I? Oh, been.
Well, you was in basic training
Yeah,
now. You
basic,
first,
yeah,
you were
okay. And let's see. Well, we went to San Diego. We went through that. That was 13 weeks.
What during the basic training? What kind of training did they give you?
Mostly close order drill and classes and everything like that, and you know, procedures. You study all the Marine Corps history and all this kind of stuff, and well, that was back then. I don't know what they do now. I mean, you know, who knows? But it's probably about the same thing. But they put you through your paces pretty well, and you'd have physical training every morning, marching, close order drill. Then you go to classes, different classes, you know, that have weapons classes and self-defense classes, all kind of classes like that they'd have. And well, we had about 13 weeks of that. And
what kind of weapons did they assign you? And also, did your weight change at all from the time you went into this period of time? Or?
well, yeah, mine, actually I picked up a little weight. And some of the guys, well, they called, back then they had kids that was a little overweight. They called what they called the fat boys platoon, or, you know. But the DI would follow you through the chow line, and they'd tell you, you know, you don't want this and you don't want that and this and that. But if you were heavyweight, but most of the guys that were underweight, they picked up weight. The guys that were overweight, they lost weight. But that was a good deal, I guess. But we didn't think so at the time. But you had to eat everything on your plate. I mean, on your tin. They had a tin thing they put it on, but you had to eat all that. They had a garbage, if you dumped garbage, they had a garbage can there, but you could eat out of it because nobody threw any food away.
Well, what kind of foods you had?
Well, we didn't think it was very good. First time we went in the chow hall, well, everybody said, "Well, I don't think I can eat that from the smell and everything of it." But it was all right. But it was good food. It was, they didn't skimp on anything. It was pretty good food, but it had to be. Guys would gain weight on it and everything. But let's see, what else was I thinking about?
What kind of weapons did you
Oh, weapons,
have?
yeah. Well, I had an M1 rifle back in those days, and a 1911 45 handgun, Browning automatic, BAR they call them, carbines, and of course they had the other hand grenades and things like that. Things like that. And that's about the only weapons you fired or
What did
trained
they
on.
assign you as your personal weapon?
I had an M1, and this 30 caliber M1, and but we were trained on the rest of them. I mean, you had to qualify for each one.
What do you mean by qualifying?
Well, like a rifle range, go to the rifle range, and they'd have your targets, 200, 300, 500 yards out, and then you'd shoot from there, and would keep track of your score. You'd have certain score. You had a marksmanship, another score you'd have a sharpshooter, and then an expert would be the highest score you could get. So they'd have it like that.
What did you have?
I had a sharpshooter and a pistol. And I had a marksman and a rifle. So, but everyone had to qualify one way or the other because if they didn't, you didn't want any part of that. But it's like I said, it was a good experience. But, it's what.
Well, now you finished with your basic training. Now,
Okay.
what happened,
Okay.
and how would you select to go to advanced training and so forth?
Okay, well, after basic, we went to Camp Pendleton for infantry training, and we was up there, and I see how many weeks that was. That was probably a month or so. We was in there. Then after we left there, well, they assign you an MOS when you get out of. Well, I take that back. Let me take that back. Anyway, we went to Camp Pendleton for your infantry training, and after we were up there then we got to go home on leave, had a 30-day leave. And then after that, I went back to San Diego. They had a radio school out there. I was a radio telegraph operator. And we had a few weeks, I can't remember how many weeks that was now, but we had so many guys in the class. And then we all, after you went through your training, learned MOS back then, or Morse code back then. And they didn't have the, where you could just talk on the radio. Well, they had some, but you wouldn't go very far. But Morse code, it would go, forever. But that's what we trained on that. And let's see, after that then, after we graduated from radio school, we were assigned our duty stations then. So I was assigned, some of them went out to, different places. Some of them in California, and I was transferred to or assigned to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
Well, before you go on now, your MOS then was a radio operator?
Yeah, yeah, radio operator or telegraph operator, and I went to Camp Lejeune down there. Camp Geiger was called, and he had a Second Anglico was the name of the outfit I was in. It's Second Air Naval Gunfire Liaison Company, and they had a air platoon, and then they had a naval gunfire platoon in the same company. So I was in the air support, close air support, whereas some of the other people were in naval gunfire. And they just close air support was what I was in.
What does that mean? Tell what would that?
Well, that means
it for?
Well, that means you was assigned, like if it was on maneuvers and stuff or something, you'd have you'd be like assigned to a line company. And you'd be with them, and if they needed any air support or anything, then we'd call it in, you know.
So
And that-
you called in airstrikes then?
Yeah, yeah. And some of the guys in the platoon, they had naval gunfire, they called in gunfire from the Navy. And, but,
Well, was
we
that
had-
strafing or bombing, or
yeah.
both?
Well, both. We had, when we had our training at North Carolina in Camp Lejeune, they had what they call in North Carolina, it was an inland waterway that went down along the coast, it was in off the ocean. Well, we had a firing range up there for the planes. They come out of Cherry Point, and that's up north of where Camp Lejeune was. And they'd come down through there. We'd call the airstrikes in. They'd have old burnt-out tanks and oil drums and stuff set in different on dunes and things in there. They'd call the airstrikes and stuff in. Sometimes they'd strafe, and sometimes they'd drop bombs, you know.
Now, this is Marine aircraft.
Yeah, that was.
Was it Navy or just Marine?
It was out Cherry Point, so it was all Marines up there. Now on the ship, if it, like the Mediterranean or what I'm thinking about, Atlantic Fleet Marine Force, they'd come off of ships and stuff. But you have Marine pilots there too, Marines and Navy both on them, on the aircraft carriers. So they would do their thing. We'd call them in, you know, and it was pretty interesting. Sometimes we'd stay all night and then call them. They'd come back the next morning. We could always tell the inland waterway kind of meandered its way around the coast. It was pretty wide, but they'd have a tower at one end, and the shooting range would be between the two towers. Well, we'd have a couple of guys in each tower. And if there's any ships come down through there, they got in the firing range, you couldn't do it. I mean, you had to wait till they left, you know, and then they'd call back, and then they'd do their thing. But it was interesting. But, that's always, back in those days, they had, we could always, we called them brown baggers. The single pilots and the married pilots, you know, they come down. We could tell which is which. Because the married guys would stay pretty high and do it by the book. Well, the single guys, they'd be real low to the deck, zipping by, you know. And so they were the brown baggers, the single guys. We figured they didn't care. So anyway, let's see, what am I thinking?
Well, you were where now? You were Lejeune, you say?
Camp Lejeune, that was, yeah.
How long were you there then?
Well, I was there for, let's see, I went there in '56. And let's see, first then I went to the Mediterranean. From there, they called us, they usually have, in the Med, they have a reinforced battalion out there all the time, or they did back then. And I made one Med cruise, they called it. And that's when they had, of course, back in, just the Med cruises are great. All you do is go to Liberty ports and make a few landings here and there and everything.
So,
you know.
so your station was a ship then?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was a reinforced battalion. They float out there all the time in case something happens or out in that area. So, or did, I don't know what they do now, but they did at that time. And let's see, well, like I said, they had Liberty ports mostly, and they would make landings here and there, different places in Crete and Turkey and all that kind of stuff. But and then they sent you're six over there 6 months, and then your tour's up, and you're relieved, and you come back to the States. So we came back to Camp Lejeune, and they, let's see, they had. I was home probably, I don't know. You get to leave when you get back. And so I came home, and I said, well, I'll just finish my time up, and then I'll be discharged. I only had a few months to go. And so I decided I loaded my wife up, and we went back out to not California, but Camp Lejeune. Got some government housing down there and all. Well, next thing I know, they had a list up, going to another med cruiser. Guess who was on it? Well, I wasn't the only one that just got back, but a bunch of us was on it. So we went back, and we tried to get out of it, talked to the CO and everything. He said, I said, just brought my wife down here maybe a month ago or so. He said, well, it looks like you have to take her back. So he said, you're going to go. So anyway, that's when they had, that was in 1958. That's when they had a little dust up over there in Lebanon at that time. Christians and Muslims, they was going at it back then even. And so we went back over there, and we made a little landing over there. And like I said, that's the only time I was really, they was handing out live ammo and stuff like that, which got everybody thinking a little bit. And so they made a landing over there. And
was that when the 700 some Marines were killed in the barracks?
Oh no, that was afterwards.
Okay.
This was before. This was in '58. So anyway, Eisenhower was the president then, because they come across they told us on the ship, said that the president ordered us to make a landing in Lebanon. So then they called us up on the one deck, and we walked in there, and I had tables lined up with ammo laying on it and hand grenades and stuff, and everybody thought, uh-oh, here we go. We didn't know what was going to happen. So they handed stuff out, and then we landed the next morning. Was unopposed, thank goodness for that. So we made the landing, went to the airport, secured that. Then the next day or so, the 82nd Airborne, I think they was out of Germany, I'm not sure. They flew in and brought the heaviest boys, the tanks and things in. And we still, everybody, well, you know how some of the guys, I'll never make it, and all that kind of stuff. Well, you can just imagine. But anyway, we went ashore, and we went up on the Syrian border, up in, I can't remember what valley that was up there, but that's where we spent our time. Of course, the Russians wanted us, they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And we was there 3 months and they didn't do anything, so we went back out to Med. A few Liberty ports later, and then we were relieved again. So we went back home, back to Camp Lejeune again. Well, it's courthouse. Well, it's Camp Lejeune, but there's a lot of little bases on Camp Lejeune. I don't know if you knew that, but like Camp Geiger, I was at Camp Geiger, and then they had Courthouse Bay, they called it. That's where we went to the last time, Courthouse Bay, they called it. We went in there, and I had maybe a month or so to go. So that was about the size of it. I mean, my military experience.
But you talked about you brought your wife down. Tell us about when did that happen? When did you get married? And so were you married before you went through?
No, afterwards. I was in, and I got about the second leave maybe or so. I got married after. It must have been 57, something like that. But
you married a local girl from school? You knew her from school or what?
Yeah, went to school with her. Yeah,
Well,
you went back to school? Okay, yeah.
Well, you went to school with her, but you dated all through high school?
Oh, yeah, pretty much through high school. And, got out. And, like I said, I took her down there, and then it was about a month or two, and they come up with this deal where we were going to go back. So I had to take her back, I send her back home. Her folks come down, and my mom and dad, her mom and stepdad came down, and her folks came down, and they went back, took her back. So that was the end of that.
So when you came back, you still had, what, about a month or so to go?
Oh, yeah, I probably came back in December, or maybe January or December, and I had till February to get out. February 15th I got out. So I was short timer more or less when I come back.
So you went in on February 15th, 56, and got out on February 15th, 59.
59, yeah.
Well, what was your separation like? Where was that?
That was down at Courthouse Bay. That was in Camp Lejeune. That's when they discharged me down there. And let's see, I went back home then.
But did you go back in a group, or you on the bus, or train?
Oh, you mean when we came back from the?
No, how'd you get home? You went home from there? But you,
Oh, no. No, I went, I'll take that back. I went down, when we came back from the 58 from the Lebanon, I had a few days leave, so I took them and I went home. I think I took a bus home, and then which only took about 15 hours. Anyway, then when I went back to the base, I drove my car back. I had a car up at home, so I drove it back. Because I knew I was just short time. I had a few days to go. And then I got discharged, and then I got out, and I just drove home then. And
well,
let's see what.
Talk about your transition to civilian life.
Transition to civilian life, well, after I was discharged, I got out, let's see, February '59, and see, it was March. So I got out, and I thought, well, I'll just, sign up for if I could get unemployment. Then I thought I'll just loaf around for a month or so before I go out and look for a job. Well, I went out and looked for a job anyway. I mean, you had to get your unemployment, so went over to Hobart Corporation over here. And they hired me right away, so I didn't get a goof off very much. So anyway.
You Hobart Manufacturing or Brothers?
Manufacturing.
In Troy.
Yeah. So they hired me right away, and I went to work over there in March. So that was, I worked there for about 40 years. That's when they worked, you went one place and you stayed there. Now it's not going to be like that now, but that's.
What did you make there?
Oh, they made food preparing equipment.
What line did you work on?
I worked in the machine shop. Started out in there on the parts washer and then I went on to the drill room, went to the grinding room, and that's where I spent most of my time ran an external grinder, precision grinder in there. I did that for about 40-some years. So it wasn't, but like I said, it was how can I say, it was a good place to work back then, but it's gone now.
What about your family when you got back there, children and so forth?
Well, actually didn't have any children. I adopted 2 children. The first one was in, let's see, 66. First one was in 66, we adopted a boy. Then we got the little girl in 69. And they're growing up now. Well, I got grandkids now. Well, they go to Troy here. Both of them are in Troy High School. One's a freshman, one's a junior this year. So they keep me pretty busy.
So you have 2 grandchildren now?
Yeah. And so they keep me pretty busy with their ball game. They're sports minded, They play all of it from one to the other, and that keeps me pretty busy. Matter of fact, I go to a lot of baseball games right now. I could go a couple, 3 times a week if I wanted to. You just kind of pick and choose now what you want to do.
Tell us a little bit about, your name is Paul William, but you go by Bill. Tell us about that story.
I don't know. I never did go by Paul. Named after my father. His first name was Paul too. And I guess I was named after him. And but ever since I can remember, it was either Billy or Bill. That was it.
Even in grade school?
Oh
and so
yeah.
forth?
Yeah. But
of your military experience, what stands out in your mind? What do you remember most about it?
most, she's writing on me. In a roundabout, this one? Okay. In a roundabout way, I guess it was a good experience. As I think back on it, like I told you before, it's, sometimes you wonder, how did I get in this mess? But as I look back on it now, it was fine.
Well, tell us about you. You must have been proud of the military because you got your tattoo.
I told her, I said, that's a different story right here.
Well, let's hear that story. Well, I got-
That's a Los Angeles tattoo
that's,
right
that's
there.
all right. Let's hear
That's
that
when there was a
story.
bunch of us went out on Liberty one time. Well, you know how that works.
Well, tell us
And
what happened.
when we came back, we all had tattoos. There's another guy that has one just like this, only it's up here where you can't see it. So this one should be up here where you can't see it.
So what it means that you went out on Liberty and you had a couple of beers? What are you talking about?
Well, no, back then you couldn't drink beer. So you had to be 21 to have beer out there. You could die for your country, but you couldn't drink beer. Yeah, that was, let's see, that must have been 56, yeah. Went to Los Angeles, about a bunch of us went there, and let's get a tattoo, let's get a tattoo. And everybody, yeah, you know how that is. Well, sooner or later. One goes, two goes, we was all in there. So, there's times I wish it wasn't there, but it's there.
Well, Bill, you've had an interesting story. We certainly enjoyed listening to your story and chatting with you this afternoon. And so on behalf of the Citizens of the United States, the Library of Congress, and Clifford Thompson Post 43, we thank you for your contribution to military service. And thank you for being here today.
Well, I appreciate it. My pleasure.
This is a continuation of Paul William Cascaden interview showing these pictures of his time in the Marine Corps. Bill, he goes by the name of Bill. Bill, would you start over here and show us some of your early pictures you have here and what they're for, and explain to me?
Okay. You want me to start at the boot camp?
Right there, start your boot camp.
Okay, this is the boot camp they gave us when we left. That was platoon 135. That was a long time ago. I don't know if you want to see anything inside. It just showed you what we went through there. If you want to see them.
And then what's the next one's there?
Okay. Well, this is my boot camp picture here.
Oh, okay.
All the guys in the platoon.
Mm-hmm.
Got the name of my DIs, Robinson. Senior DI was Sergeant Folk, and Flores was the other sergeant. But, that's all the guys that was in boot camp. And this is radio school in San Diego. That's all the guys in the class. And see what else we need. That's home on leave, this one. This one here is just one that, that's probably Camp Pendleton there. This is a boot camp right here.
Hold that one up. That's what you look like when you went in service then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, handsome guy.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Now, Bill, don't laugh about it. He knows better. That's a home on leave deal. And this one here, my daughter had this one made.
Well, pick it up and show it to us.
Okay. She had this one. I had this one. I had this photograph. That's a Temple of Zeus in Athens. That guy's named Stewart from New York, and that one's Edwards. He was from South Carolina, and that's myself right there. That was in '57, and this was 2008, I think. My daughter was in the same spot.
Interesting.
Standing in the same spot we were.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. What else do you have here?
Well, let's see what else I got. Well, this is Marine. I think these are all Marine Corps. That's San Diego, California. That one, Marine based, MCRD there. This one, same thing. And that's the one there. That's that big parade ground they had over there, down there.
And what's this Marine cruise here right now? You're looking at your
Oh,
book.
that one there. That's that Mediterranean cruise I was on, 57, 58, but I was on, yeah, that's this one here. Gives a few sites that we saw while we were over there. Deep water operation we had in Turkey was deep water. That was a NATO operation. And all these others are just pictures of things we had when we were over there. This is different guy that was on in the battalion when we were there, supporting units. We were a supporting unit right there. This is my platoon right here. Officers, all the enlisted guys here. Air and naval gunfire.
Very interesting. Do you have anything else here we ought to see?
Well, I think that's about I got that one from Camp Pendleton, if you wanted to see it over there.
Well, that's a big long one there, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's that long one. It might roll up even, I don't know.
And what is the, what, this is of
That's Camp Pendleton, that's infantry training up at Camp Pendleton. That's right out of,
and that was your whole battalion?
no, that was a company.
That's a company.
Yeah,
What were you at the picture?
right here on the end.
On the end?
Right there. Where they keep an eye on me, I guess.
How many men were in that company?
Oh, there must have been,
That's a
I
big,
really don't know, there must have been 100.
yeah, that's a big company, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole company. Yeah,
Well, I think
the company.
those interesting pictures and wonderful history to have, and so, again, anything else you want to show us before we shut it down?
Oh, I think that's about the size of it, I guess, if you don't.
Well,
want to see
again, thanks, Bill.
it. Okay, I got one, and I showed this to Jack, I think. I think this was off of, I don't know if you can see it on the camera. This was our Thanksgiving meal in 1957 aboard the ship, sorry about that. 1957, that's the ship we were on.
Mm-hmm.
And all the officers
Interesting.
and crew, yeah, that's the food we had that day.
Looks pretty good for
Oh,
a meal.
yeah, yeah. We'd eat anything that didn't eat us first.
Thanks again, Bill. It's been great interviewing you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for all the pictures and everything else.
Okay, thank you.